Okay.
Hey, this is Mike at Fit Fusion. We're going to go over some basics today about your shoulder, how to work all three heads of the shoulder appropriately, which will also help you to avoid injury and having shoulder problems. Shoulder has three areas. It has front delts, which is right up in here, side delts, which is the biggest part of your shoulder muscles, and you have rear delts, which is the one that tends to get worked the least and really needs the most work. Your front delt gets worked a lot when you do chest work, like presses, pec deck, crossovers, any of those kind of motions pulls your front delts into it a lot. So in my opinion, you don't need tons of front delt work if you're working your chest appropriately. But I will show you some front delt exercises to start with. We'll get the front delts out of the way. The main motion to do front delts is this right here. So there's a few ways to do that. You can do them with dumbbells, and you can have your palms facing each other, or you're coming up like this, or you can have your palms facing backwards, coming up like this, the same motion, or you can do them one arm at a time, whatever method you prefer. You can also grab plates, like a weight plate, do the same motion. You can grab a bar and use the bar, the same motion. That's going to work your front delts. Now your side delts are a little different. Those are the ones that gets also worked in everything you do for chest and shoulders, not so much on chest, but that's the biggest part of your shoulder. So when you're trying to create a taper from the front and back view, having a developed side delt will give your taper a better look. You will look like you have a V taper much more. You have developed side delts. Now the primary movement for working your side delts are lateral raises like this. And there's several ways to do it. You can have your dumbbells just like this, come to the side, but I recommend not doing this. You want to keep tension on that side delt during the whole exercise. So you're not going to come up and come down the front and lean over, because from right along in here to here, you have almost no tension on that side delt. So what I'd rather you do is have them at your side, come up, come back down to your hip, right back up, down to your hip, right back up. That keeps tension on that side delt the whole time. You want to isolate that side delt even more, turn the dumbbells like this, and as you come up, you keep your pinky on top. You won't get very high because of the shoulder mechanics, but just like that, that's isolating your side delts. It's hard to do, but the burn is nice. So any kind of side lateral movement is going to work those side shoulder, the rear side shoulder muscles. Do this also on a cable machine, where you're holding the cable and doing this kind of thing. Get it behind your back to keep tension, like this the whole time. And you can also cross the cables with both at the same time. All that is side shoulders, and those need some decent work in volume every time you do it. Also an overhead press, when your palms are facing outward, works your side delts tremendously. The more your hands are facing in like this, the more you bring your front shoulders into it. And when they turn all the way around like this, it's a lot of front shoulder. So if you're trying to work your side delts on the overhead press, keep your palms facing forward and then press like this. And I recommend when you're doing face up shoulder presses, don't do them behind your head. It's very bad for the shoulder joint. But come down very close to your face if you're using a bar, and don't go below, say, your chin, because when you're right along here and you come down lower with that bar, that's a lot of stress on that shoulder joint. So you're pressing from your chin overhead and back down. If you got dumbbells, of course, just keep them in the same motion close to your face. Also, is a great way to work your side delts. Now, there's other things you can do for side delts, but those are the two primary ones: lateral movements and overhead presses. Now let's talk about rear delts, which to me is the most important because it's the most neglected part of the shoulder. What will happen is people will work their front delts doing lots of chest work, and they'll do more front delt work. And they'll do some side delt work too, but they'll skip their rear delts so they look like this. They're all pulled forward. This is really strong, this is really weak, which is pulling on that cuff, and you're in line to have an injury happen at some point. So working the rear delts does a couple of things. Keeps your posture great, keeps those shoulders pulled back, and also from the back view gives you a better taper because your back looks wider because your rear delts are developed. Now the motion for working rear delts is bent over like this. Keep your arms straight. As you come up, just like that. You want high reps, arms straight. The more you bend your elbows, the more you're pulling your traps into it. A better way to do that, as far as not necessarily better, but easier, is get into a pec deck machine where you're facing inside like this and then pull back, just like this. And that's working your rear delts. Now you also get some trap work, and that's okay. Traps also help to pull your shoulders back, keep you good posture. But one more thing that I love to do on rear delts is a face pull. Face pull is where you grab a cable like this, step back, keep your elbows high, pull it to your face, hold it, then come back and stretch. Pull it to your face, hold it, and then back and stretch. That is great for your rear delts, great for your traps. It's also great therapy for your shoulder joint in itself. So front delts, side delts, rear delts. When you're working shoulders, you need to hit all three. In my opinion, hit your side delts and your rear delts the hardest. If you do those things, you'll find your shoulder will become more healthy, less prone to injury, and you can also develop a very good looking shoulder, so you have a good taper and you're in shape.